Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. How is everybody doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. I am your host, Jim Masters. It's time to have some fun, some light love and levity, some great conversation, inspiring conversation. And we've got an amazing guest. We have award-winning actress Cynthia Straus with us. Yeah, she's all excited. She's been posting and tagging and sharing all day long about her guest appearance on JMS Live, and we thank her for that. We welcome everybody. Hope you guys are doing well today. If you're not, well, you know what this place is all about: inspiring conversation, good times, freestyle conversation as well. And we just have a good time connecting with all of you, our faithful viewers who watch from all around the world live. And those of you who do watch in the archives, we thank you as well. Binge watch our episodes. A lot of you say sometimes you fold laundry when you're binge watching. Sometimes you're knitting or whatever you're doing, washing dishes, whatever it may be. You're doing something sometimes when you're binge watching, or you're just sitting there and you're enjoying looking at the screen and watching all the action, all the magic happen on our show. I tell you, we have a good time with this show, and it is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series, sort of patterned after the old school talk shows, Carson and Dick Cavett and Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas and all the veteran television hosts. And that's the work I do. I'm a television and radio host, personality, presenter, journalist, actor, writer, producer, stage MC, voiceover artist. Been doing it for years. And we launched this show to bring some light to the world, but also have a good time. That's what we do on the show. We are here. We are live. This is like a television show on the air, on the internet. And today our mug is the Paramount Picture Studios mug. Yes. We always have a different mug, a different glass, a different something to toast you with. This is when I was on location at the Paramount Studios there in Hollywood, pre-COVID, about year and a half ago. I was on a TV shoot, and then we were over at Paramount. So there you go, Paramount. And we toast everybody. Thanks for joining us. Today we have some V8 Splash. It's really delicious. It's got like this fruity mango flavor, something refreshing. You know, it is summertime and it is July here. We are in the greater New York tri-state area. That's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, of course. And we are between New York and Boston in the southern New England region, with the ocean just a block or so away from us. And we love it here. And wherever you are around the world, I hope it is a good day for you. Our very special guest is going to join us in just a second. Yes, the wonderful Cynthia Straus is here. She is a brilliant, brilliant actress. Going to join us in just a second. First, let's check in with some of our lovities who are watching. First, we welcome you to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. We welcome all the lovities. Hello to all of you. Those are those who watch all the time. They call themselves the lovities. First time watching for you. Hey, welcome. Join the lovity family. Just be here and enjoy. Have a good time with us. Whether you're commenting live during the show or you're just watching and kicking back and enjoying the entertainment and the information and inspiration, we welcome you. For those of you watching, we do hope and wish that you do give some levity to our YouTube channel. which is the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV. It really does help us big time to deliver the content. And we would really love it if you just click that red subscribe button, and also the little bell icon that's next to it. That will give you the opportunity to get notifications when we have fresh, live, brand new episodes. Since we do this show just about 7 days a week, and we've done about 430 episodes live just about 7 days a week, as amazing as that is, click the notification bell. And when we do surprise pop-up shows, you'll never miss any of them. So we would love it if you subscribe and share the channel with all your friends. Spread the word about our show and all the levity about the Jim Masters Show Live. And also check out, while you're commenting live, our new YouTube super chat, super emojis, super stickers feature. That's something really new, where your live comments are going to be highlighted in special bold colors. The comments rise to the top. Everybody will see it live on the air because we will show it. And I will personally thank you for that. There's also something new. I guess we just reached some sort of cool milestone where we have something now called Super Thanks. That's something now, I guess, that we've reached a milestone with our series. We're able to offer up during the live chat. So check that out. That's Super Thanks. I think you see all of those things at the top of the chat screen. That's while we are live on the show. You can certainly take care of that. And yes, personally, thank you on the air, that is. I think all the words that they had typed in there just didn't fit all the way around. Also, if you can give us a thumbs up, some levity, give us a like on the YouTube channel itself. Click thumbs up, click like. We would love that. YouTube loves that too. That helps our show. So click thumbs up. Give us a like on the YouTube channel for this episode, this video, and all the ones you enjoy. And leave a comment on the YouTube channel. We would love that. That's really important. And we really would appreciate that. If you enjoy the episodes, share it on the YouTube channel. And we would love if you leave a comment. Many of you have been doing that, and we really appreciate that. And today, again, we are welcoming award-winning actress Cynthia Straus to the show. Enjoy, everyone. Absolutely. Maureen says, happy hump day. I hope everyone is having a great week. We're almost to the weekend, y'all. Let's get this party started. Welcome to Lovely Hall, Cynthia. And Maureen is watching in Arizona. Good to see you, Maureen. Merlin is in Ontario, Canada, reporting for duty. And she says, hello, Jim and all lovelies. Good to see you, Merlin. Sherry Larson in Kansas says, hi, everyone. Good to see you, Sherry. Mary in Florida. Hello, Jim and all lovely friends. Good to see you, Mary. And Merlin is welcoming Cynthia to Lovely Hall as well. Perfect. That's another name for JMS Live, is Lovely Hall, as dubbed by our viewers, which I think is really cool. Joan says, hi, Jim and all lovelies. Great to be here. Glad to be here. All of the above. We are happy that you're here as well. June Rachel Sinaspra is here. Good friend of mine and good friend of Cynthia's. Good to see you in the Baltimore, Maryland area, our friend June. Alessandra in North Carolina. Hi there, Jim, lovelies, and Cynthia. Good to see you, Alessandra. Cool shirt. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Alessandra. Glad you like it. It's silky soft and breathable, which is important under the hot lights. Hey, Jim. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. Kathleen, sending you levity, thinking of you today. We chatted today earlier, and sending you lots of levity today. Welcome, Cynthia, to Lovely Hall from Joan. And Cynthia, love you from June. And welcoming Cynthia, love it. This is what we call our levity roll here with everybody. That's an awesome shirt. Thank you, Merlin. Appreciate that. Jane is watching in Sweden. She's always here, sometimes with one eye open because it's late where she is, but she's always here. Good to see you as well, Jane. Thank you about the shirt. Toasting with Merlin. Good to have everybody here and all the new folks who are watching live around the world as well. Good stuff. Joan says, looking good, Jim, as usual. Thank you very much. Love it, love it, love it. So we are very excited. Thank you very much. See, there is the super chat. That's what Kathleen just did. And thank you, Kathleen. We highlight that. I personally thank you. And again, it's in special bold colors, and it helps the show as well. So thank you, Kathleen. You've done that a couple of times. You're a very beautiful person for doing that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jen Barry is also here as well from Pennsylvania. Good to see you, Jen. Nice, nice, nice. And all the lovelies are saying hello to each other as well. Barbara is here. Chapman artists. Yes. Congratulations, Cynthia. Barbara, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live. It is awesome to have you here as well. As I mentioned, Cynthia is here and she is absolutely amazing. If you know her work, then you know her passion for acting. Began at age 9 working with Chicago's Children's Theater Troupe. Yes. Lilliput 2. During the years she worked with them, she performed many roles, including a tour de force performance at age 12 as a child Holocaust survivor. As well, she, with some of her adult roles, critically acclaimed portrayal of Angel Eyes, a woman being raped by her would-be Prince Charming. And that is a riveting performance. That's just one of many. Also on screen, you can watch for Cynthia in such projects as Swing Vote, as well as Hamlet 2, Love and Dancing, Naked Fear. Cynthia also performed and was involved in the Obie Award-winning play, The Vagina Monologues, on 5 separate occasions. Yeah, to benefit the V-Day campaign. Critics have said of her performances, the subtlety of her work belies the depth of her process, and first-rate acting will remind you of the power of theater. She's trained with the best in the business as well, and it's my pleasure to welcome her live and direct. New York. Cynthia is here. Cynthia, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm great because I'm here. It's great to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Oh, I know you've been very excited about it. And thanks for all of the pre-show levity. I really appreciate that. It's awesome to have you here. And what I was describing as far as sharing just a little bit about your background is just really scratching the surface. You've been doing this for a long time and you really love what you do. How have you been during, this crazy year or so that we've experienced where the world sort of stopped for a moment and we had to readjust and pivot? How have you stayed creative and collaborative, connected, and sane? And when I say that part about sane, everybody says, I'm not there yet. Get back to me soon on the sane part.
Such a good question. I was actually on my way to London with a show when the pandemic hit. We were going to a festival in London called the We Are Here Festival with an amazing play called Duet about Sarah Bernhardt and Eleonora Duse.
Yeah.
And Duse is my passion. She's my muse. I don't know if you know who she is.
Yes,
Do you
absolutely.
know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell our audience for anybody that's not familiar.
So this is actually why I'm doing this show, because she's someone who should be remembered as much as, if not more than, Sarah Bernhardt. She was the mother of modern acting.
Yes.
And she was known she was known all over the world during her time, but she was so humble that when she was off stage, she wouldn't give interviews, she wouldn't talk to the press. There's a famous story about John Barrymore seeing her in a lobby in a hotel in New York, and she's sort of older and huddled in the corner, kind of wrapped in these shawls, and he went over and she looked up and he was like, oh, my goodness, it's Eleonora Duse. So because she was modest, she's not as remembered as she should be, and that's why I highlight her. Her work she was sort of the first real actress in the sense that she used real emotion. She worked from her real life experience. And that's what went on to become known as method acting, as Stanislavski saw her perform in Russia. Anyway, I'm on about it because I was about to go to London to play her when the pandemic hit. We had our flights in place. We had rehearsals scheduled. Everything was set. And it all got postponed. So we are keeping the faith that it will happen. That's how my pandemic began.
And how did you get through it from there? Did you pivot? Did you sort of pivot into another area of creativity? How did you manage to, because everybody's had to do so many different things and be creative on the fly. Did you write? What were some of the things that you did?
We started working on the script, revising the script, which was fantastic. Then I took a writing class. I started writing some of my own material, which turned out to be more screenplay-ish than stage. And I'm still working on that project. This is going to sound kind of crazy, but I started a nutrition plan. And
cool.
that was one of the things I did during the pandemic, was instead of, allowing myself to really
Do what everybody else did.
do the COVID-15.
Have the Pop-Tarts and the
Right.
Fluffernutters and all the childhood foods, the Captain Crunch and everything.
After I got to the COVID-10, I went, no.
Well, you know what they didn't say? They told us we had to be 6 feet apart from one another, right, for our health. But they failed to mention we were supposed to be 10 feet away from our refrigerators.
I know.
They didn't mention that part.
They forgot to tell us, you can go out and take a walk for 20 minutes a day, but, you can exercise at home.
Do you know, I have to tell you this because it's just hitting me so strongly, and it's a compliment. It's a beautiful thing. I'm hearing in the tonality and the texture. I'm a voice person. I've studied voice for years.
Yeah.
Your speaking voice in certain ways sounds a little bit like Barbra Streisand. I don't know if you've heard that before. Yeah. And some of the way you're just naturally flowing, I'm hearing a little of Barbra Streisand. Yeah. Is that amazing?
Wow, that's an amazing compliment.
Yeah. I don't know. Lovities, viewers, let me know if you're hearing what I'm hearing, where her voice sounds, in speaking voice, sounds a little bit like the speaking voice of Barbra Streisand. We just had Barbara's sister, Rosalind Kind, on the show not that long ago. She was amazing, and they sound similar too. But I'm hearing a little Streisand in your speaking voice. It hit me when we were chatting before we went live on the air. I was, my God, am I speaking to Straus or Streisand?
Maybe we're
related. A little of both. There's a little bit of that in your speaking voice, and it's a wonderful quality.
She's so unique. That's really, really quite a compliment. And speaking of voice, I teach voice too.
You do?
I actually do, yeah. And that was another thing I did during the pandemic. I did a little bit of voice coaching on Zoom. It's not the same, but it was wonderful to keep that alive, because I think that teaching the craft, turning it over, giving it to other people, it's the humanity in acting is just unbelievable.
Guess what? Alessandra in North Carolina also hears the Streisand in your voice. Yes,
I'm
thank
you.
That. Yeah, the soothing voice. Yeah. They also forgot to tell us to put a lock on the refrigerator. So we'll talk about the voice part in a minute, but I'm fascinated by the nutrition area because, again, there are people who, instead of kicking back and eating all the chips and ice cream and all the feel-good stuff, and a lot of people baking, and that's beautiful, but you wanted to use this time in a more healthier direction. Tell us a little bit about that. And what was the inspiration to do it now?
It's really, I'm so glad you asked, because in tandem with losing the London show, I actually had COVID at the beginning. I had it in March of 2020.
What was that like? Everybody has a different story, but for you, what was it? Was it full throttle, or was it a mild version, or what was it like for you?
It was a mild version. And the reason I tie it into thank God. The reason I tied into your question about the nutrition is because I had a lot of inflammation after I had COVID. Residual inflammation. And I had to take my system away from the acidity and the inflammation that was happening in it and get it to move alkaline. So I went on a 30-day cleanse that was with my cousin was kind of turned me on to it. It's called Purium. And there's a lot of different ways to go alkaline. They have like a pretty vegan, very restricted eating that I did for those 30 days.
Oh, and Merlin in Canada says, close my eyes, and you're right. She closed her eyes and she hears Streisand.
I have never heard this before. That's so amazing. Wow. What a compliment.
Yeah. When you listen to this back, close your eyes. When you watch this back in the archives, close your eyes and listen. You'll say, oh my God. Sometimes we don't realize it,
No, I know.
but it's a cool thing.
Yeah, I wish I could sing like her.
In
Then
the
I'd really have
shower
it
and in the
made.
car, right? You're probably in the shower or in the car, you belt it out.
Yeah.
So the
Hmm.
COVID, and that led to this aha moment of, I think I'm gonna. Um, what was that like? Exhaustion, headache, breathing? Did you have all that too?
I had exhaustion and I had headache. I was very fortunate that it didn't go into my chest. It stayed in my throat. It was like someone strangling you from the inside.
Yeah. Mm, mm,
And
mm.
that would come and go for about, even though I was recovered by the end of March, that inflammation in my throat would flare up all the way into July. I was having that. I also lost my sense of smell.
So you did lose one of the senses, yeah.
I did. I did.
Mm,
I had it so early that I couldn't get a test. And
right. The
yeah,
tests were very few and far between, and for whatever it was, there was long waits and lines. And so when was it determined that you had it?
yeah. So I was in New York. I couldn't get a test. And my husband is Native American. He's an actor, Alan Tafoya. And he's best known for Deadliest Warrior, which was a reality TV show.
We'll have to
He's
have him on the
a
show. Tell him to
fierce
come on.
Apache warrior, and you have to have him on. But he said, well, we're going to go back to New Mexico, which is where I part-time live, and I live in New Mexico and New York. A lot of my body of work was done in New Mexico.
Yeah.
He said, we're going back. We got to get out of here. We got a warning from a friend. There's going to be potentially a really bad
It
situation
was
in New
going to
York.
hit hard. Yeah.
And so they had told me at urgent care, you have a cold. Just quarantine till you feel better. And when you're 24 hours symptom free, you can go out again.
Yeah.
So there was one night where I started to go into my chest. I said, honey, I think I have bad news. I'm starting to feel it go into my chest. He said, just take a NyQuil. So I slept for 12 hours, took cold medicine, woke up. Must have been while I was sleeping that those antibodies just went to war, because I never had it go back into my chest. It just stopped that one night. So that was on a Saturday. Then the Monday.
So if the NyQuil people are listening, Vix, you might want to have her in your next commercial campaign.
Yeah, definitely. NyQuil, I'm your girl. So we flew to New Mexico, and I got there, and they still wouldn't give me a test because it was, you don't have a fever, you don't have shortness
The
of breath.
classic symptoms, right?
Classic symptoms. And ultimately, my husband called Indian Health Services, and they referred us to the hospital. So I had to go through IHS to get the test, and we waited at that time 9 days to get the results.
So is that in Albuquerque?
It was in Taos in the mountains. That's where
Yeah.
I go. I go
Yeah.
there. Hello, everyone in Taos is maybe watching.
Yeah, everybody
That's
watching.
an artist colony. It's
I think New
amazing.
Mexico is awesome. I was on a TV shoot for one of the other shows they do, the TV News Magazine show in New York. And it was my first time to New Mexico, and just flying in, it's like you're landing on another planet. Just the landscape itself, and raw and real and rugged and rustic, but incredibly beautiful in its own way, with the desert appeal, and Albuquerque, quirky but cool.
Quirky Albuquerque.
But everybody says also, and I have some friends that live there, Santa Fe is another area that they're like, you must check out Santa Fe. I guess it's fantastic too. Santa Fe.
I lived there for 5 years. Santa Fe is very unique. It's the third largest art capital in the world, next to Paris and New York.
Yes,
Santa Fe is gorgeous.
Santa Fe, and then next door in Arizona, everybody says, come see us in Sedona.
Yeah, Sedona is another really high vibration kind of enlightenment.
That's how they
lots
describe
of
it.
ley lines and all that.
So when you go to New Mexico, are you settled, balanced, reinvigorated to then come back to the hustle and bustle of New York? Does it recharge you? Do you plug in with yourself and your essence, so that way you can tackle, the demands of the big city? It's
the perfect balance. The polarities. So each place gives me what the other place doesn't. Now I'm a New Yorker by definition. I mean, I was raised here, and I'm a city girl for sure. But New Mexico, I'm very spiritual. I always have been. I've always been drawn to that, and that's another reason why I'm drawn to Duza, because she was known as the mystic in the theater.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
So I was really drawn to. I wanted to know more about her the first time I heard of her because of that, and so New Mexico has given me a lot of my dreams came true in New Mexico, including breaking into feature film, really being recognized for my acting. I brought the vagina monologues to Taos. We had actually Jane Fonda and Eve Ensler came and saw the show there, and I met my husband there. So I built a house there, off grid, completely. Just changed my life. And then I fell back in love with New York, probably as soon as, don't take this the wrong way, but as soon as I went to LA, I fell back in love with New York because I lived in LA.
Well, it's an interesting, right? You know, if it's an interesting thing, if you're from the East Coast, there's a certain vibe, a certain way of thinking, there's a pacing, and if you're from the West Coast, there's a certain way of thinking, certain vibes, certain pacing as well. And same thing with the North and the South. I mean, where you go, but yeah, there is a real dichotomy. So you came in, probably went to LA with all that New York energy and all of the way of thinking, okay, let's get it done, keep it moving, folks. Okay, you know, let's go part the seas. Okay, let's work together. And things are a little more slower and a little bit more. Yeah, but you still have that East Coast energy and passion, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. And I had an agent in LA who I had grown up with actually. And he said to me at one point, you know, you need to go back to New York and get more stage credits. Just go do it. And then you can come back here and you'll be seen. You'll have an easier time. So I went back to New York and he died. And my agent, who I had grown up with, it was so sad. It was really sad. This was a long time ago.
Was he young?
He was 36. Yeah. And he was like, his agency was interested in me, but once he was gone, that was it. So it was at that point that I ended up going out to New Mexico just to clear my head.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks later, I was on a movie there. And that was when I moved there. Yeah, it was bizarre. It was just.
It had already been in the works and was set up. Wow.
It was just one of those fated moments where I went, oh, you know, I've been banging my head against the wall on the coasts for all these years. Maybe if I go to a smaller market. And so instead of being up against 2,200 people for a job, suddenly I was one of the highlighted people in that area.
Right, exactly. Like a big fish in a small pond versus a little fish in a big pond type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely, except for the fact that New Mexico has a very professional pool.
They really do.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of production that's done there. Movies and television shows. Breaking Bad, I believe, was filmed there. And
Breaking Bad was
yeah,
filmed there.
they use
Godless with Michelle Dougherty. The In Plain Sight. What I did there was movies. I did Swing Vote there. I worked with George Lopez. The movie that I went out there with was with George Lopez before he was famous. And Lupe Antaraz, I think is her name. Anyway, Lupe passed away, but George ended up, there he is. There I'm working with George. And,
what was that like working with him? Because he was on the rise then, right?
He was at Swing Vote. He'd already risen. He was great. I mean, George is a lot of fun. He's very funny.
Yeah.
He's very kind. And, he remembered me from this film, Tortilla Heaven, that I'd gone out there with. Del Zamora was also in that film. And, it was, I loved that film. But Swing Vote, Joshua Michael Stern, who directed it, we had so much fun in the audition process. They actually read me for a bigger role. And the thing that's interesting, I want to share some things about acting, which is, I had worked so hard for this role I did, which was Darlene, George Lopez's assistant. And by the time I got to the third callback, I had built a whole backstory for her, a whole life that I brought to this character. I was so steeped in her that when they threw me this other role to read for, because Joshua and Michael Stern liked me so much, he wanted me to have a bigger part. That role would have been 2 weeks on the set and working with Dennis Hopper. But I was so already entrenched in Darlene because I built this life for her that that was the role they gave me. That I kind of screwed up, actually, to be honest. In that audition for the role with working with Dennis Hopper, they just threw me the sides and gave me like 5 minutes to prepare.
Wow, that's it, huh?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, try this."
Yeah.
And Jim Wilson was in the room. That's Kevin Costner's producing partner.
Right.
And so I mean, that was a big breakthrough for me I had worked with two people that Kevin Costner knows. I had worked with Tom Eberhardt, who did Naked Fear. And that's a whole other story. I have a lot of stories. And then I had worked with Jack Lustig, who was on Dances with Wolves. His wife, Elizabeth Lustig, who tragically died, cast that show. So Kevin knew the people that I worked with. I mean, I'm sure that didn't hurt my getting the part. And when I did Naked Fear, I was working in the production office because I would play both sides of the camera, and they had a shot where they had to have a plane, and the plane needed a runway, and they were looking for this location. And I was on the board.
These are the behind the scenes things, folks, she's revealing to you, special stuff.
They were looking for a location, and I was on the board of New Mexico Women in Film. I was a founding board member. And I think I was vice president, actually, at the time. There was a woman named Deborah Johnson, who was a big-time producer from LA, who had moved to Santa Fe, and she had this ranch she was building a studio on, and they had a runway. They had a runway. So I got them that location. And then Tom Eberhardt gave me a role in the film. And when we went to shoot, he kept handing me rewrites, like all the way up until he got me in front of the camera. He's handing me rewrites. And because it's New Mexico, the first AD is like, they're not going to be able to do it. They're just local talent. She won't hit her mark, blah, blah, blah. I nailed it. I nailed it. And Eberhardt was like,
passion.
Yeah, please forgive me.
No, it's okay.
I'm a New Yorker. We say, we have language.
That means I love you.
But I nailed it. And Tom was like, whoa. So that was Naked Fear. And then from there, I went on to get Swing Vote, Hamlet 2. Love and Dancing is another interesting story. That was Robert Iskov. And he's really a very, very well-known Hollywood director. He's done a lot of stuff, a lot of like youthful films. I had been a stand-in on a shoot he did with Judd Nelson and Jodie O'Keefe. It was called Three Wise Guys.
Sure,
I had been a stand-in on that film, and I kept getting into arguments with the first director. The first AD, he was, I think I was too mouthy for him. Anyway, I was watching intently, and I was standing in for Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, and I had to do a double. I had to double for her in a couple of shots. So they put me in her wardrobe, right? And she had these high boots, and the base camp was a long walk from the set where they were shooting, and I had to, I couldn't walk in these boots. So after we did that, after I did the double shot, the wardrobe lady called the Teamster and said, "Come pick her up." I said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I cannot walk in these boots. I really, really appreciate that." And she said to me, "Oh, I'm not worried about you. I don't
So
want you
those
to."
boots were not meant for walking?
They were not meant for walking. And this wardrobe lady said to me, "I'm worried about the boots. I don't want you to ruin them." Behind the scenes, how people are treated, right?
Yeah.
But the irony is that Robert Iscove came back the next summer and shot another film and gave me a principal role because he knew me when I walked into the audition, and I hit the nail on the head with this shot they
Yeah.
couldn't get, this transition reaction shot. So these little things, even when I went on set to do Swing Vote, I took that moment because when I come on with Paula Patton and George, and I'm coming in with this story I've been working on, I got the tape, I got the the prize winning sow, and I came on and I'm like working off both of them, right? I'm working off both of them. And then I go off and they follow me up the stairs with the camera. I think that part got cut, but anyway, it was, when you have a small role and you have one line, you got to carve it like a beautiful detail in a sculpture. And that's working off the other actors, the language, the world, the whole relationship to the characters. So the craft is so rich, you just can't look at it like it's one little moment no one's going to notice. I have to say, I watched another actor shoot that day, and he was taping something where he was just sitting in a control room sipping on a soda. And I was watching him thinking, oh, he could be doing all these things in this moment to steal that shot. And a lot of actors miss this. 90% of acting is reacting.
Yes, right. And it's so important. And in life too, it's how we deal with things and how we react to things that really matters greatly, right?
It does. And I also will say that
Acting
in life,
mirrors life in many ways.
Acting mirrors life, but in a heightened way.
Yes.
And in life, yeah, Jim. So I think you'll agree, because you probably talk to so many people. We in life are asked often to desensitize ourselves.
How do you go about doing that? Yeah, I know.
We have to tone down. You don't have to, but if you, in acting, the beauty of it is you get to heighten your senses.
Right.
And any art form, writing, painting.
Yes. Anything where you're expressing and sharing. So where are your reserves? Where do you go to pull up that more heightened version of who Cynthia is? So when you are on set, on stage, out and about doing your thing, on location, whatever it may be, what do you tap into that then allows you to feel comfortable, the freedom, the vulnerability, to allow that to rise to the surface? Because obviously when you do that, there's the authenticity, there's the real Cynthia, and people love it because they feel connected and relating to it as well. Not everybody in the beginning feels comfortable enough to, or even knows where to tap into that part of yourself to allow it to rise. So what is your go-to and I mean, you've been doing this for years, so it's effortless, it's an automatic pilot, but what do you generally go to be able to allow yourself to let that heightened version rise to the surface?
It's such a good question. It depends on the role. Some roles are so accessible and they're just so close to who I am. And other roles I have to really work for to find. But the tried and true sensory work of going to the five senses, just taste, hearing, seeing, what is it that affects you, the relationship to the script analysis. I learned this from Larry Moss, who learned it from Stella Adler. And Stella asked Larry to please not let the work die. So the people, places, objects, and events in the script, what's your relationship to them? How do you create a relationship that affects you personally and yet also reflects the character. Where do you meet the character? The sensory work and relaxing in the body, first you have to get rid of excess tension.
Right.
You have to. You can't start without that. You can add layers that are the characters where they might carry tension, but you have to be relaxed within it.
Right.
And then I had the great fortune of being one of the inaugural one of the inaugural students for Patsy Rodenberg's teacher training program. And the British have a little bit of a different approach. They work from the outside in, as opposed to American actors who are usually trained. It's very abstract, from the inside, bringing it out and connecting to the feeling. And that can be very dangerous if you don't have a structure around it. Meisner says structure is freedom, right? So creating the most simple answer to what you asked me is, it happens by creating a map. And the map comes from the writer and what they gave you.
Right.
And then you find your way in.
And then you find your way in, right? And you make it your own. You add, you keep true to the character, but you add the essences of who you are sort of within it, which is a beautiful thing and something that you've been doing for quite some time. We have some evidence of that with some of these shots here. Tell us what we're looking at, Cynthia, on location.
Yeah, that's Outlaw Justice. That's one of the films I did with my husband. And I played a pioneer's wife. And it was a wonderful short film, which really should have gotten more attention. I think that Aaron Holloway, the director, he's an amazing filmmaker, an amazing producer. And this was so much fun. I worked with Chris Dempsey and Chris Rainey, and the whole, we shot at Bonanza Creek, which a lot of Westerns have been shot there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really excited to be in a Western. That
must have been, yeah. I mean, to have that done. I mean, Alessandra asks, what is your most favorite role? Is there a role that you've done that is, or has that not come yet? Some people say, well, that I'm still working on that.
Well, let's put Duza aside, because Duza is obviously my favorite. She's a different league. There was a film I did called Illegals, and it was about, very timely, illegal immigration over the Juarez border. And I was cast to play a general counsel. The way I got the role, I was sent up for this by my agent, and what I didn't know was that it had already been cast when I went in to read for it. And but it was, Shirley Rumiak plays this woman who has a child, and she's living in Juarez in terrible conditions, and she wants to get her child to safety. And so she comes to me for a visa, and I look at her and I say, well, why do you want to leave? And she tells me, and we did this shot, and a lot of actors, when the camera's on the other person, they'll just sit there and not give them much. Or they might not even be there. They might be reading to a crew member, I was trained to listen when I studied at the Neighborhood Playhouse. The whole first year of Meisner training is listening. I was listening to Shirley so deeply. I was responding, and the camera wasn't on me. So I was able to really honestly tear up with her story, which I didn't do when they shot my angle, when they did my setup. But it was a powerful scene. And I stamp her visa and I say, you're good to go. Just get your kid checked out. He has to have doctor's clearance. And that film, because it was so important. The subject matter I would say is my favorite film role I've done. I will also say, just to segue back, they had someone else cast in that role, and when they saw my audition, they decided to let that person go, and they hired me.
Yeah. Are there roles that you prefer to play? Merlin in Ontario, Canada asks that. What kind of roles do you prefer? Are there roles that really speak to you that are some of your favorite?
Yeah, very good question. So I'm a big advocate for empowerment for women.
Yeah.
Everything I do, if you watch my body of work, is pretty much going to have a message about empowering women. And if it doesn't have that kind of a message or that kind of a impact, I generally won't get the part. Does that answer your question?
And the reason why you won't get it is they will know that they will sense that you wanted to have that empowerment. What do you think it would be?
I think it's because I resonate so much with anything that's about empowering women.
Right.
It's not that I couldn't do another kind of role, but if it doesn't, but that just happens to be what
speaks to you.
What speaks to me. I mean, if you look at some, let's see, I think in Swing Vote, I mean, these little, that was a small role. Or in Hamlet 2. I mean, Hamlet 2, I played a mother whose, kid is out of control, and it's a very funny movie. Have you seen it?
No, I didn't see that one yet. No.
It's so funny. It is probably, it's Steve Coogan. And Catherine Keener, and Amy Poehler was in it, and it was a funny film. It was the highest selling film at Sundance at that time. So there were bidding wars against it at Sundance for distribution, and Focus Features got it. And that was a little bit of a different kind of role for me, because I played kind of a disgruntled mother, like, this is disgusting. They're doing it, you have to see it. They do this show and it's very lewd, and my kid's in it. And I'm like, oh, what are they doing? This is disgusting, So that maybe is, but what was amazing about working on that film was it's the same people who wrote Book of Mormon, and
yes.
Yeah, so very, very high end. Andy Fleming directed it. It was a wonderful project. I get more residuals from that film than anything else I've done.
You had mentioned also that it's really important, women's empowerment, and you're involved in something. You did this wonderful behind the scenes PSA promo. Tell us about this.
Yeah, thank you. So, as I said, I was on the founding board for New Mexico Women in Film, and I spearheaded a program for producing PSAs. And a lot of the other chapters have this program, which is why I wanted to start it. So the Rape Crisis and Trauma Treatment Center at that time was where we chose to do a PSA for them. And I produced it along with these beautiful women, Denise Beale and Candace. And then Ali McGraw agreed to come on as our star. So I've actually, as a producer, employed Ali McGraw. That was incredible. When I had to sign her deal memo, I was like, yeah. And she's a wonderful person. She is the most lovely, completely non-star energy. She's a big star, but she doesn't.
She's real.
She's very human. She's so authentic. She's so human, and so it was really an honor to work with her.
But that's a very important thing behind the scenes, right? This wonderful thing that you're doing again ties into that whole women's empowerment, and it really speaks to you in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, because it was for the Rape Crisis and Trauma Treatment Center in Santa Fe, and there is a lot of domestic violence in New Mexico, unfortunately. And that commercial ran for 2 years on local television So we were able to really reach a lot of women who knew where to go to get help.
That is beautiful. That
Yeah.
is a beautiful, that's giving back, you know what I mean? With all the
Totally.
blessings that have happened to you in your life, just being a part of something that gives back. And that was funded by a grant from General Motors too, right?
When they still had money, yeah.
That's terrific. When they had it, yeah.
It was just before the
Just
2008 recession.
just before, right? Exactly. Got a couple more photos here I want to show that are kind of cool.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's happening in that scene?
You know, that was Outlaw Justice again. And I remember he's telling me that he's going to have to go off with the group of cowboys to face a dangerous situation. And I'm listening to him. You know, I'm playing his wife, and I'm listening to him, and I'm like, are you sure you're going to be okay? And it was he's an incredible actor, Chris Dempsey. So that was a really great scene to shoot.
You enjoyed working together,
I did. I will say, though, my husband was on that film, and it would have been so nice if we had had a scene together, but we didn't.
It's a cool shot here too.
Yeah, and that's when they're riding up to tell us of the trouble that's coming, and they want to take our home. They're trying to take our home away.
Yeah.
And it was.
Where can people see this? Is it available online, or is it Netflix or Amazon, or is there anywhere you can see it?
You know, it was never released. It was screened, but
Yeah.
to the best of my knowledge, it was never released. But what I could do is reach out to the producer and see if there's
Interest in them
a
releasing it,
way
right?
to post the whole film now that it's
Yeah.
even just on YouTube.
Here's another great shot. Look at this.
Yeah, that was 2008. That was my production of Duet in Santa Fe. That's me playing Duza. And in this scene, she's playing Camille from Les Dames à Camille, and doing the death scene where, you know, she's La Dama Camelia, which is, I don't want to give away the play, but
Yeah.
it's a really important part of the play that she played this role and Sarah Bernhardt played this role, and how different they were in the role.
Absolutely. This, I think, is from Stranded, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes, this was one of my first films. It was a short film with the James Lujan had opened a film school in Taos, and I had a lead in this. We shot it out in the wilds of New Mexico, and I was kidnapped. The character is kidnapped, and she has to, you know, figure out how to get away from this situation. And
this crazy situation.
Yeah, the car breaks down, and
the things. And do you run and trip and fall? That usually happens too.
No,
everybody that's being chased always trips and falls.
One thing, no, I remember I had to. There was a scene where they give you green. She was eating, and they gave me this green chili stew, which was so spicy that I was like choking on it, but it sort of translated as fear, which was. So you use whatever is there. Right?
Use whatever's available and make the most of it, right?
Yeah.
That's what you got to. We actually have some clips of some of your work as well from your acting reel that we'd love to show our viewers watching and anybody that's just joining us. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's always a pleasure to have you here. I'm your host, Jim Masters. This is the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. Special guest, award-winning actress Cynthia Straus is here. And let's take a look at some of her brilliant acting prowess right here with this nice sampler that we have. And then we'll be back and we'll continue chatting with Cynthia on the Jim Masters Show Live. Here we go.
You signed it. You signed consent. So end of deal, okay? End of story. Sorry, you guys, but you totally gave consent.
You don't control our kids!
Wake up, Cole! You don't control your kids!
I really do feel like a sexual victim with dark memories of a rigid dictum.
This is disgusting.
Shut up!
With elevators and Chinese restaurant and crime and traffic and crime, Darlene!
I got it! I got the tape on Mrs. Eckley's prize-winning sow.
Screw Mrs. Eckley and screw the sow.
You promised me.
Get network on the phone. Don't screw it up.
You won't regret it.
Better not. Darlene!
How long have you been trying to immigrate to America?
Almost 7 years.
And how many times has your application been rejected?
4.
So why leave?
Excuse me?
You seem to be doing pretty good here. Why do you want to leave?
Pretty good here means sharing a tiny 2-room house with my son and my mother.
Well then. Good news. Your file is almost completely in order. You should be eligible soon. You should be ready to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Hey, idiot!
I think she's dude. Sorry.
Just take the coffee. I'm busy.
Wow. Okay.
Have to go all the time.
Iced coffee?
Yes, thank you. Just so you know, he's deaf.
Ah, Jessica. I still don't think it was a good idea you coming with me.
You worry too much. What do you think's gonna happen?
I don't know.
Hey, darling. Looks like we got company.
It's about time.
Ain't a bad place you have here, huh?
Thank you, Steve. Holloway and I found this cabin after Henson stole our land. As like yourself, we were left with nothing. Only the shirts on our backs.
Really cool stuff. It shows your versatility in the variety of different roles, huh?
Thank
And that's
you.
just a little sampler of the multitude of things you've had an opportunity to be a part of. Wow. Cool stuff,
Big
huh?
films.
Yeah. Major stuff there. Let's see what the Lovedies are saying. They always have some cool things to say. They react right away, which we love.
Oh,
Claps
thank you.
from Merlin, who's watching in Ontario, Canada. And Mary Bishop in Florida saying, fantastic acting, Cynthia. Love
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Kathleen Walker in New York City asks, is there a type of part that you'd like to play? And then Alessandra in North Carolina says, is there a part you don't ever want to play?
Yeah.
It's sort of the yin and the yang a little bit.
Right.
Kathleen also says, nice. And Alessandra in North Carolina says, that is fantastic. Looking at the sampling of the work. Obviously, you put 110% in everything that you do. You love what you do. I got another. This is Christmas, right? This one?
Oh, Sandy's Christmas Carol. Sure. This was an NYU student film. Thank you all so much, everyone from all over the country and,
all the
even the
Lovedies.
world.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your comments.
So what was this one about, the student film? And it's always cool to be involved in student films and independent films too, because they can really, present some really amazing topics and themes and just really cool things. And they have the freedom in which oftentimes to do that. I've had an opportunity to be in a couple of them, and it's just a different feeling sometimes, right?
Oh, it is. And when you're breaking in, which when I did Sandy's, that was before all my big films, you do these smaller projects so that you can get tape and so that you can work. And that happened to be a great script. Ryan Malanafi, who directed that, hired me. And I think his little sister played the little girl, and he wanted someone who looked like they could be her mother. So that was part of why I got cast in that. And it was, NYU provided all of the equipment and that was the beauty of being a film student at NYU at that time. I just remember that he was a young director, and he would give me direction, like how I was to move through every shot. And to the extent of, I want this reaction here, and I think I disappointed him, because you can't tie an actor down like that. I mean, it was just too controlled the way he, at that time, and he was very young. He's really talented, no question, Ryan. But so when you work with students, you have to make adjustments for that they're still learning too. I remember I'm segueing. I'm going to segue, because part of what I want people to get out of my show with you isn't just everything I've done and how great I am. It's just what you go through as an actor.
Yes, right.
And
it's not always all the glamour and glory. There's so much blood, sweat, and tears, and toil, and sacrifice, rejection, and hours, and emotional investment, all of it, right?
And things that are totally out of your hands. So I had been invited up to Rockport, Maine, to the film workshops up there to be an actor for 4 weeks, just so their students could train on us. And I had to do a shot where I was sitting on the edge of a cliff, and they wanted me to jump up and say something, and I was terrified because I didn't have union protection. I had not gotten any kind of waiver to be up there, and this is many, many years ago. All I remember is, what if something happens to me and I'm not covered jumping up from this edge of this cliff into the shot?
Yeah.
Well, I did it, and I didn't die. But
you're still here to talk about it.
I'm still here to talk about it. And I got some great tape. I did a bunch of student films that week, and then they wanted me back, and I said, no, I'm not coming back without you have to get me a waiver with the union to come work with your people, because I'm not going to do that again. But that was one thing, working on a student project. Also, there's a story I want to tell where I had been in New Mexico, and I had a great agent out there, and I came back to New York for a winter, and I was doing a lot of work on stand-in work and background work on Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
I was standing in for Mary Stuart Masterson. I was on set with Mariska Hargitay and Chris Maloney, who I actually went to acting school with before he was famous. And my agent called from New Mexico with an audition for me to go up for Steven Spielberg's Into the West. And they had very few female roles. They were casting like 3 female roles locally in that miniseries. I said, well, I could stay here and keep working on SVU. And they loved me on that show. They were calling me in every week. I was making money. But I didn't have an agent. I wasn't getting in for principal roles in New York. And so I left, and I went back to New Mexico, and I read for the Spielberg show, and I got a call back.
Wow.
Got a call back for this role, this pioneer woman, similar to the Outlaw Justice role, but this was years before Outlaw Justice.
So when you get this call coming from the Spielberg organization, are you pinching yourself? You're doing the happy dance? What was that experience like for you? Yeah,
of course you're doing the happy dance. And you also trying to keep it in perspective. I didn't land it yet. I really want to, you have to stay
steady,
not get ahead of yourself, right? But I knew I really had a shot at this. And long story short, somewhere between finding out I had a callback and getting to the callback, I get a call from my agent that they had cut the role from the script. Now, these are the kinds of things that
Where the highs and the lows, yeah.
No control. They loved me. They were bringing me back. I was really close. And then they edited the script. They did a rewrite. That's television. And that can happen. It can happen in film too, but film tends to be, once they start shooting, it's more set. You might end up on the editing room floor, but you're still going to get the job. And then they have to honor the contract too.
Right. But with television, yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. Live television is different, but if it's scripted or what have you, absolutely. A lot of dramatic roles. Do you like comedic roles as well?
I do. I really do.
Would you like to be, cast in more of them if they came along?
Yes. I would.
What if it was a sitcom, like a television sitcom, and they said you would be perfect for this? Would that be something you would explore as well?
So I never turn down an audition. I don't care what it's for. I've only turned down one audition in my entire life.
You did?
However,
yeah,
it was a long time ago. It was.
Was that a good decision, or one that do you ever, we all have things we look back and like, gee, maybe I should have done that, or
no, I don't.
It worked out for you.
Small role in a small project, and I found it very distasteful.
Oh yeah,
it was very distasteful.
Right.
The writing. So I have no regrets, but essentially I am a film and stage actress.
Right.
Television, it's not that I would never sneeze at a television contract. If anyone out there is watching this and you have a television role you think I'd be right for, let me know. I'm your girl, okay? Like, you just don't, it's work. And if the writing's good, you do it. If the writing's not good, you do it and you turn it into something good because you're a performer, and you find that kernel of truth that you can hook into and have it deliver.
And there's teachable moments and everything too. You learned from it, and exactly.
But essentially my originally on stage, and then I wanted to work in film. So I have pretty much, my body of work is film and stage. I don't think in my bio, you started to talk about that role I did of the Holocaust survivor when I was 12.
Yeah. What was that like? That is really extraordinary. And to take on something so important and historic as well as heavy at that age, what was that like?
Well, that was really, really powerful. What I remember the most was being on the stage, and there was a moment of such stillness as I was talking about surviving the Holocaust. And then it flashes back and tells this story. And this was so long ago that there were actually Holocaust survivors in the audience. And I remember going afterwards to the lobby, and there was a woman with the numbers on her arm, and she was crying. That was it for me. That was when I knew that I was going to have a life in the theater. I said, we can, this is a way to move people. This is a way to tap into people's humanity. This is a way to heal people through the power of theater and the power of film and television even.
Yeah.
Now, so I think there are entertainers, people who getting your head on about why you want to act, what you want to say, whatever your medium is as an artist.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, Jim, you're giving people this amazing opportunity to get up and talk about their work and their lives, and you're I have gratitude. So I'm so thankful to be on your show and to be having the opportunity.
My pleasure.
Lost my earbud.
You're getting, that's passion. That's called passion. You're getting so passionate.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate those words. I really appreciate that. We try to make it a comfortable and warm freestyle atmosphere, allow people to feel safe and to emote, and with levity and all the rest that comes in, and the interaction with our fabulous viewing audience as well. And, you know, it's that's a very emotional experience. So that being a part of that, the Holocaust Project, really, it's still with you today, isn't it? It still touches you deeply today.
Yeah, it does. Let me just speak for a moment to that the Holocaust was an atrocity. And I have a couple of friends who are actors who have done projects in their adult life about the Holocaust. One woman whose mother is a survivor who's got a documentary film called Would You Hide Me? Her mother was hidden in a farmhouse basement for 2 years during the Holocaust and then rescued and brought to the United States. So she's doing, I think she's going to win an Oscar. But anyway, so she's doing this, and then but I am married to a man who is a full-blooded Native American man from the Hickory Apache Nation. My grandmother was born on a reservation in Nebraska, and she was not Native, but she was my family was around this tribe, the Omaha Winnebago tribe in Nebraska. The beauty of these people, their culture, which is sitting here right in our world, and we don't see it. They are the invisible people, and they must be given their due. These people we have so much to learn from the Native Americans. And I'm so honored to be married to Alan and been welcomed into his family and learned so much about the culture and the tribe and the language and what they've gone through. And there's more and more coming out, you know, all these schools that they're now finding these children who were killed at the boarding schools, bodies, you know. So it's a third world country in our country. And
often forgot about. Yeah.
Often forgot about.
Yeah.
You know, we're pulling out of Afghanistan, but charity begins at home. And the Black Lives Matter movement is vitally important, and their restitution. The Native people are incredibly noble, and similar to my muse, that they are modest. So they don't speak as much to make a lot of noise about themselves. But that doesn't mean that, I think I'm saying this because I want people to pay attention to, you know, in the Southwest, it's Indian country, but here, most of the country doesn't really think about the American Indians that are living amongst us. And
do you see yourself working on more projects that are tied to that? Alessandra in North Carolina says, well said, Cynthia. She also says, you guys are both great. Thank you, Alessandra.
Thank you.
And claps coming in from Barbara Chapman. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Barbara's my dear friend from many, many years.
Thank
you, Barbara.
And everybody for the great comments. Do you see yourself working on more projects that are tied to that theme along the way? Or something that maybe any thought to you creating and developing? Do you like the behind the scenes? Do you like the production, writing, developing your own projects as well?
I always say if there's something I'm going to produce, I have to be on fire about the message.
Yeah.
If there's something, I can act in anything because I can turn it into something. I'm primarily an actress. I have done some producing and some directing, and I enjoy that. I enjoy all aspects. I'm an theater artist. I'm definitely a film actress. Producing film is, oh my God, I don't think I want to do that. It's so much involved, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah, raising the money and
Yeah.
investors, and
I would love to see more Native projects get produced that are important, that can get out there.
yeah.
And my husband is involved in a lot of those, and when you have him on, he'll talk about it. But more than anything, it's any group of people has to tell their stories.
Sure.
And speak out. So
right.
I think that it comes down to that.
What are some of the things in your life that continue to be the blessings and the joys, Cynthia, that spur you on and give you that inspiration to do the beautiful work that you do in the industry?
Well, I have to acknowledge my mother, who's a visual artist.
What's her name?
Her name is Sandy Straus.
Sandy Straus. Hello, Sandy.
I think she's watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Sandy.
And she taught me, it was from watching her that I understood that your identity as an artist isn't defined by whether or not you're recognized or your success. It's defined by your commitment.
Right. Sometimes it's presented in a backwards way that, right, the notoriety is what it's all about, but it's really the quality of what you do. And if there is notoriety and what have you, that will follow as a result of the quality and the essence of what you're putting out there, right?
Exactly. If you're committed to an art form, you are an artist.
And it's not work. It's who you are.
It's who you are. It is your purpose. I am so an actress just in who I am.
Yeah.
And everything comes out of that. Everything comes out of that incredible connection to that work that is a vehicle for my soul to speak through. Right. So whatever your particular creativity is, and I think I said something in one of my promotions about the medicine of creativity, you have to have it. You have to have something. And
so true.
Yeah, I think it's a key to life. I do. There are people who say, "Well, I'm not a creative person." Well, maybe you have a sport that you love. Maybe you have a hobby that fuels you, even if it's cooking, or cooking's very creative.
Yes.
Highly creative. Did I answer your question?
You did. Absolutely. Another great show. Thank you, Austin Field. And June Rachel Sinaspa says, so true. And Merlin, we had a guest on, an actor a few nights ago, was talking about the important and defined for the audience, the work of a showrunner and how the showrunner really runs everything. And, the showrunner is not somebody that runs for coffee or whatever. They're really running the thing. So Merlin goes, would you ever consider being a showrunner? I mean, that's a tough job. God bless the showrunners, huh?
No, I wouldn't.
Tough job.
I don't think I would be.
Yeah.
Not at this point. Maybe I learned a lot when I was younger, being a PA on sets and working, interning in casting offices. Yeah. And, I did some locations work, and I worked at film festivals, and all of that was great. I learned so much.
It's good to learn, right? I've always been taught in school and brought up to, and all of my professors, instructors, and people in the industry have always said, Jim, you can have a niche, you can have a certain thing that is your go-to, but learn at least bits of everything. So when you are around everybody and there's this whole team and we're putting something together, you'll have an appreciation for an understanding of what that person's doing, the person in sales, the production person, the grip, the lighting person, everybody, the director, other talent, because it's all part of the puzzle to make that, they're all pieces of the puzzle to make the puzzle. And because I know I've been on sets sometimes and in studios where there's occasionally some people who don't appreciate, care to even know about, or have no interest in what that other person's doing, but that other person and what they're doing, which is something they love, something they want to do, something they hope leads to other things. is vital to make sure you're going to be able to do what you want to do. And sometimes people often forget that, but I was always of the ilk to appreciate, respect. Another thing too, respect, appreciate, and value everyone and everything around, and learn something about each of the components, because you never know when somebody is not available, somebody is sick, somebody's delayed in traffic, somebody's not going to come, and they need you to pitch hit for whatever that is. And sometimes by doing that, that leads to other bigger things as a result as
It's absolutely.
So
there have been a few times I've been asked to step in for roles with people for some reason they've lost their actor. One in particular was a show about the Sisters of Mercy. I played a nun, and I had 2 weeks notice, and it was a national tour. And
I mean, that's
so.
Did you have time to even get your hair done? I mean,
well, the woman who was producing it was a friend of mine, and she played the other role, and she called me. She said, can you step in? I lost her, and I knew I could memorize it. I have a very good memory. I was able to get the script down. I had to fly to Chicago because there are theater companies in Chicago for rehearsals, and we just worked and worked and worked every day nonstop, and then went and took it around. And it was an incredible, incredible opportunity. That show was pivotal, but ironically, I had the week before she called me, I had just joined Equity. So when she called me, I said, boy, you're a week too late. Now you have to get me an Equity contract. And she did. I was lucky. She knew me and she knew my work, or she might have said, I'll call someone else.
Sure, right.
But she knew I could do it, and she was stuck. So we had a great time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. You're loving the ride, aren't you? You're loving it.
I'm loving it. I'm ready to get back on that ride. It's been
are things, as things are slowly opening and studios are coming back a little bit, theaters are things starting to progress? Do you have some projects, things coming up that you're excited about?
I just had a play that I did in 2009 come back to me about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The role was written for me in a play called The Land that we did in New Mexico. Lynn Robinson is the playwright, and she has an original song by Bob Dylan that was written for this play. And we're going to work on that script and try to get that to New York. We've got the London project. We're working on that again. My director on that has an upcoming play called Mirrors that's going to be, it was at New York Theater Workshop. It got shut down second week run during the pandemic. So once she gets through Mirrors, we'll be back on Duet. And I'm auditioning for film and television. I have a wonderful manager here with NSNY Talent. Thank you, Gary. And so I'd like to have more, to be honest. I'd like to have more work in front of me. And I think that that's going to happen. There's a guy that's working with me who's doing a one-man show. He's coaching with me, a wonderful show about baseball. And so I'm coaching him.
That's cool.
But I would like to have more jobs. And I will.
What about commercials? Have you been approached for commercial work as well?
I did one commercial in my years in New Mexico. I did a commercial for Bill Richardson when he was running for president.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that was my only commercial job. So commercials are a great way to make money. I was watching Kathy Searle. Is that?
Oh,
you had a guest.
Was that not hilarious when she
Her
was
commercial reel was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I'm like,
she's
wow.
really spot on with it too. Yeah.
She is something.
What about voiceover work?
Yeah, voiceover work. I would definitely. I've been told I should do voiceover work, and I would definitely like to do that. I'm really into teaching now too, because that way I'm like so in the crowd and cultivating young
Yes.
actors. And
I want to talk a little bit more about that. Tell us about that and some of the work that you do, and maybe even some tips you can share right now for somebody watching live or who will watch this in our archives on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and they're being inspired by this conversation. They're learning, and they want to, sort of get their feet wet in the acting world. What would be a couple of tips? I know a lot of people do say, well, make sure you really want to do it because there's a lot involved. And if you're 50-50 between wanting to act or maybe something like being an accountant, be the accountant. So, because you have to be all in. It's got to be something, because there's going to be so much emotion and time and blood, sweat, tears. Tell us about a few things you would suggest and more about your wonderful teaching that you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Jim. So the teaching, I've always sat in class and watched teachers and thought, oh, he should be saying this, or they should be saying that, or what about that moment? And I would want to teach the teacher. It's horrible. I pissed a lot of them off, I think. But anyway, so I realized that it would be great to teach. And there was a point where after the recession, I had done all those films, and then there was the recession, and a lot of filming stopped. They couldn't get funding. I decided to go train with Patsy Rodenberg in New York in her teacher's training program. And that was pivotal in my life, both for my craft, but also Patsy has something called the circles of energy. This is Patsy Rodenberg's work, and I am authorized to teach it. It is very special, and very few people are authorized to teach her circles of energy. Now, Stanislavski also has, he talks about the circle. I mean, there are other people who've explored this, but hers is particularly developed, and it's about presence and coming into presence. So it's a qualitative difference in how we relate. And I'm not going to give a lot of it away. If you want to know more, please contact me through my website, cynthiastraus.com, or on my Facebook page, and I would be glad to talk with you. And it's not just for actors. It's for anyone in life. These are tools for living. These are tools for connection. Voice work is not just, look, every actor needs to have a connection to their voice. Every actor needs to have a full embodied voice. The work of embodiment, of coming into the body. So a lot of us, we have different centers in our body. We have the cerebral area. We have the heart chakra. You have the solar plexus, the power chakra, where the sexuality, we have, our groundedness, all of that. This work brings that all together. So you can, if you live in your head and you want to take the elevator down to another level in your body, come work with me. And then also what else can I give you? Bringing the voice forward also is very important, because if you listen to the British, they're very uplifting and everything goes up and the fall. It's all uplifting, even regardless of the circumstances. Americans tend to be more back in our throat. Larry Moss talks about the culture of cool. Hey, everything, cool, let's chill, let's kick it. That is really misguided, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's deadening. And there's an unspoken agreement to stay deadened in a lot of ways. And then to break out of that requires, you can't do it from your head.
Right. Yeah.
So the tools that I have, that I work with people when I teach, have to do with that and waking people up. And I don't mean mental, I mean waking up the body, waking up the breath, waking up the energy to come forward and move out.
Very important. Yeah, very important. It's sort of full circle in a way to what we were talking about earlier about allowing it to rise to the surface, because there's a certain authenticity that comes along with that, right?
Oh, authenticity is it. That's the name of my company, Authentic Voices.
Perfectly named.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, so like I was saying, you really, really love this work. Is there something that you would love to do, and what else would you do if you weren't doing this work? What else would Cynthia take on? What are some other things that are interests in Cynthia's life that you would do if you decided ever to stop acting and performing?
Wow, that's a tough question. I can tell you some of the other things that I've done, one of which is very connected to, I worked, I'm really into astrology, and I find that fascinating, and I love to talk. Anyone who knows me, I'm always talking about what's going on, where's the moon today, where's Mercury retrograde, and all that.
What's your sign?
I'm a Taurus.
My sister's a Taurus. I'm a Libra, so we crave balance and harmony.
Yeah.
One of my unifiers.
And Venus rules both Taurus and Libra. So Venus is the planet of love and beauty. So I love to talk about esoteric stuff. That stuff, I'm very psychic. I used to read tarot cards and palms and all those things. So those kinds of things really draw me. I have a passion now for politics. I don't know that I want to be a politician, but I love that so many women are moving into politics, because I think the men have made kind of a mess of everything. And, women give birth, we give life.
A very, very beautiful and not so easy thing to do. You guys really know how to endure pain.
There's a different relationship to when you give life.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
To the nourishment and nurturing of humanity and the planet. So we have to honor and give to the mother. Being the planet is the mother Earth, right?
Right.
So I'm passionate about that kind of stuff. And I could see working in some kind of social justice. I was raised by, my mother worked in the civil rights movement. So cultural diversity and equality, really, really important. I did
part
learn
of your
that.
life early. Yeah. You were
My brother
inspired.
was a producer on Straight Outta Compton. So.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he's in the film business, and because he was raised in a very integrated community. He's was able to get the rights to from Eazy-E's widow to produce that movie. Otherwise, incredible. I don't know that would have been able to make it. And that's a whole. I can't speak a lot about him because I don't know everything, but right. I do know that.
Yeah.
And so my mother gave us that that value.
Yeah. Right. Early on. Right. Early on, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
To honor people from all cultures and all walks of life. And really, if you think about skin, it's pigment. Like, who cares how much pigment you have should determine whether you're worthy or how. It's ridiculous.
Well, I always say on our show, everybody's welcome regardless of political views, religious views, gender, height, weight, income, eye color, zip code, how much money is in the bank. Everybody's welcome to join us on the show. As a Libra would say, the unifier, bringing extremes together and just having, a good conversation. I think it's so, so important. That's the key to everything is conversing and listening to all the different just even listening, because everybody's speaking, but nobody's listening. And one of the things I said often on this show and elsewhere that I hope has been, or that does result from everything that's gone on with the pandemic and all the resulting things, is that we rise from the ashes of all of that more loving and kind and empathetic and collaborative, and we listen more, and there's more of a unification and understanding that the earth spins more smoothly on its axis if it's balanced, unified, and everybody's at the table and we're all working for the greater good, because life is short, life is precious, as we know and as we've seen more than ever in the past 14, 15 months. And to take the time to be more empathetic and to care and to listen. Not everybody does that, but that's what one of my hopes is. What is one of yours? Mm-hmm. Because there's been a lot of teachable moments during all of this.
What would I like to see? Maybe more community.
Yeah.
It's hard being, there's some, here we are having a virtual conversation, and I'm thinking I'd love to meet him in person. I miss being in the room with people. I think there's a danger of disconnect. There's such a danger of disconnect.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right. The technology is great, but yet we do need to get back into the same rooms. And right, exactly. Yeah. It's so important. Well, somebody that's my sidekick that is here, who, always has a good smile for all of us, and he's sort of my Ed McMahon, is George Burns.
Hello.
That's the reaction everybody gets when all of a sudden he appears, puts a smile on everybody's face, and he's got his cigar and his smile, and there he is. And he said he's enjoyed this conversation with you, and it was a pleasure meeting you. And remember, he played God too, so you got that on your side. It's really nice.
I love
puts a smile on your face, huh?
Nice to see you.
You can't
George.
You can't go wrong with George Burns on your side, right?
That's right.
There he is. So he sends you his best. Well, I hope this show met whatever expectations you had. We've chatted for an hour and almost 40 minutes, almost 2 hours here. This is amazing. Right. And you didn't grab a drink, or you did it without any liquid. Amazing.
No, I had no idea how much time has passed. It felt like 20 minutes. I had so much fun.
Everybody tells me, they're like, it's so comfortable that the time flies by in, hour and a half, 2 hours, and it just rolls. And I'm very appreciative when people say that, because sometimes, you can go on shows and do different things, and they either rush you through, you got 6 minutes to tell us about the movie, the book, your life, your passion, your all of this, and then in and out, and it's just all written questions. Or sometimes you could be on for a while, but it's painful. So,
right.
So in this case, what Cynthia says from North Carolina, Cynthia, you're now part of this lovely family. Big hugs. The Jim Master Show Live Lovity family. So
I'm honored to be part of the Lovity family, and I really thank you, Jim, for taking the time to really study my work and what I've done, and put together such an amazing trajectory of photos and clips and all the work you put into interviewing me.
Oh, really, my pleasure. Oh, the pleasure is all mine. And we will keep the porch light on for you. And I wish you continued success. And hopefully we with our friend June and the gang, get together in person, break bread. That would be really, really cool. I would really thoroughly enjoy that. And I hope the show met whatever expectations that you had. And you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
I very much enjoyed it. It exceeded my expectations. And I just really thank you, June, Rachelson Ospa, June. Thank you. You did it. I'm here because of you, honey. So June got me in touch with Jim. So I'm really, really happy we did this. And I appreciate your making the time to put me on the show. I know you have a wait list now. So
We
What
do.
an
It's
honor.
unbelievable. Yeah, all the way into September. Gita Lloyd is here. She's a brilliant artist herself. She says, Cynthia has been amazing sharing her
Oh.
life as an artist. I will watch the beginning, which is great. She just joined us now. Love to all. Maureen in Arizona says, time flies here in Levity Hall. Thank you for spending time with us. I wish you much continued success. Gita says, happy days to you. XOXOXO. From June, and June also says, I'm in. She's in as far as breaking bread and getting together.
Nice.
Kathleen Walker, take care, Cynthia. Stay safe. Thank you, Kathleen. Really beautiful comments from everybody. We appreciate all of this. And Alessandra says, you are so very welcome. Truly a wonderful conversation in a lot of different directions, and very inspiring and thought-provoking and entertaining as well. And thanks for sharing all of this time with us, Cynthia. Continue to spread the word about our show. We would love that.
Definitely.
And hope to see you in the same room soon.
Very soon.
Alessandra says, you are great.
Thank you, Alessandra. Thank you.
Tough to top that one.
I really appreciate all of your taking the time and listening to what I hope will have some value going forward for all of you.
Absolutely. Some valuable tips too about, what it's really like too. There is all of the glory, but there's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears and toil that that makes it happen. And in a way, I've always said there's a richness to that. That some people are lucky, the luck of the draw, whatever it is, where there is an overnight success. Very difficult to maintain. You have to live up to that. You got to keep that going. But when you are coming up a ladder, when you're coming up through the farm system, when you're sort of working hard and you're earning it, the experiences, the accomplishments, whatever accolades come as a result, it's richer, it's deeper, it's more fulfilling when you've really worked for it and you've wanted it and you've made it happen.
That's right.
There's a different, I've always, when you get, and as well, the beautiful comments from the fans, the viewers, the public at large. One of the hardest is to get it from your peers too. And when you get it, when you get recognized by the industry and by your peers as well, that's rewarding because they know how difficult all of these, industries are and all that it takes. So when you get that, the accolade or, the thank you from the industry, that too can be very, very fulfilling because they know, what it takes. Alessandra says it really has given me lots to think about the conversation, which is really beautiful. Well, my friend, this was terrific. And as I say to all the guests, now, if you haven't eaten, go eat and go stretch those legs. Get the circulation going. That's it.
Thank you for an extraordinary experience.
My father has always said, whenever anybody says something nice to you, tell them to put it in writing and address it management. That's his Irish humor. His Irish humor. Great show, you two. Very inspiring. Thank you, Barbara Chapman. Welcome to the show, and I hope you'll join us regularly. We're here every night with light, love, levity, entertainment, inspiring conversations, and much more. Welcome. Good to have you with us, and hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Have a good night, Cynthia. It was, again, really a delight to have you on the show, and we'll keep the porch light on for you, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
Have a good night from Levity Hall.
I've been inducted into Levity Hall, and I'm thrilled.
I say often you can get an Oscar, an Emmy, a Telly, a Peabody, a Grammy, a Tony, but when you are told by the viewers you are now a Levity, your feet are tingling right now, aren't they?
I'll take it.
You have a good night, okay?
You as well, Jim. Take good care.
You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Or as Juanita from South Africa, who's one of our lovely viewers, would say, walk well, moi loop. We learned that when we were talking languages a couple of nights ago. So we learned moi loop means walk well. So walk well. Alessandra says that Cynthia is family for life. That's it. She'll be at the table. Now going forward, Geeta Lloyd, of course, another great guest on our show and an avid viewer and fan of the show as well. We thank her. We thank Cynthia for joining us on the show. She was a delight, very thought-provoking, inspiring, and empowering. She's been doing this work for a long time. She's earned her place, but she also gives back. If you paid attention to the areas of the conversation we talked about, all the other projects that she works on that empower other people, that's a very beautiful and important thing. So we thank Cynthia for joining us. Here's some cool shots that we didn't show earlier. This is the one where it's what you talking about, Willis? Don't mess with her there. That's a cool shot. Here's another one. Nice smiley one there too. She's got a bevy of great shots on her website, and she's just she's all in with life, and that's what counts. Want to let you know, tomorrow we have award-winning choreographer and filmmaker David Fernandez with us live. That's going to be absolutely amazing. He's going to be doing some really cool things for us on the show. We're really looking forward to that. And also on Friday, Tony-nominated producer Robin Gorman Newman is going to be with us live on the Jim Masters Show Live. Then on Saturday afternoon at a special time, an afternoon edition, live from Los Angeles, we're going to be talking pets with nationally certified pet sitter and celebrity pet sitter to the stars. She's been in films and movies and television. Heather Branch, she is an expert, and I know you guys love when we talk food. You also love when we talk pets. So join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, when Heather Branch joins us. And on Sunday, a very special episode live from Ireland, 16-year-old phenom, wonderful Ruby O'Kelly. She is a classical and mezzo-soprano, Irish soprano, music and chat. That is going to be on the Jim Masters Show Live with special guest Ruby O'Kelly. Again, she's only 16 years old, and she is amazing. She's also going to perform live as well, live from Ireland. That is at a special time as well. That'll be 2 p.m. Eastern this Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, and England. We're doing it earlier at 2 p.m. Eastern because it is 7 o'clock at night for her in Ireland. So, obviously we want her friends and fans and family to be able to join us live as well. Don't forget to show some lovity to our YouTube channel, which is the channel you're watching right now, Jim Masters TV, a channel dedicated to entertaining, informing, and educating and inspiring all at the same time with lots of laughs. Subscribe to it, and also click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes when we're here live, and also our pop-up shows and surprise shows and so much more. Gita says, you all stay sweet and feeling the levity. Perfect. I love that. June says, night all. You have a good night, June. And I just wanted a couple of announcements, things in the lives of some of our viewers. I wanted to wish happy birthday to Rita Mazzella in New York City. She's in Brooklyn, New York. She's a fan of our show, and I've known her for years. Today is her birthday. I also want to wish a blessed birthday to Kathleen Walker's loving mom. This is her mom's birthday in heaven, and today is that day. So we send lots of levity to Kathleen. And Anne Harrickson, her birthday as well recently, and she spent her time at Disneyland. She was a kid again. So Anne in Southern California, we wish you continued levity. And also Jen Barry, she's going through a tough time. She lost her beloved dog just a couple of days ago. So she's going through a tough time. And, Jen is always here. Jen is always zen. So she's not so zen right now. And we send her, from all of us here at the Jim Masters Show Live, Lots of levity as she was watching earlier and she wanted to participate, and then she had to step back because it was hitting her as she was thinking about her pet. Pets can be just like family and tough loss. So Jen and Anne and Kathleen and Rita, we're thinking about all of you and sending you all our best. Those are our lovities here on the Jim Master Show Live. You're very welcome, Kathleen. Kathleen says, have a great night. Early game tomorrow. That's the New York Mets. She works with the New York Mets. If the rain holds up, so I'll hopefully see you tomorrow night. She's either with the Mets, or Masters. And sometimes she's been with Mets and Masters, because when we go to Citi Field to catch a game, we always see Kathleen there. Maureen says, Jim, as my mom used to say, people come into our home, Loverty Hall in this case, as guests, and they leave as family. She passed away 2 years ago, but I still live by her words and kindness. Well, Maureen in Arizona, yes, you certainly do, working especially in the healthcare industry, giving back. Your mom obviously is a Loverty in spirit, and I'm sure she would have been right at home here with all of us if you are a reflection, if she's a reflection of you and you're a reflection of her. Absolutely. Thank you for those beautiful words. Sending much levity to all from Kathleen in New York City. Absolutely. Right back at you, my friend. Mary Bishop, always here. Good night, everyone. Take care from Pine Island, Florida. Hope you're doing well, Mary. Great show, Jim. Thanks for the much needed levity. The pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. Alessandra in North Carolina says, good night, Jim, and all my levity family. See you all tomorrow. Mwah. You got it, my friend. As we always wrap with the show, and don't forget, again, award-winning choreographer and filmmaker David Fernandez is here live tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, as we continue our incredible series. We've done over 430 episodes live 7 days a week since we started our show, and that is amazing. And thanks to everybody who watches, who tags and comments and shares the links. That really helps us. And don't forget to smile, gang. Don't forget to share the levity. We always talk about that here on the show. Don't forget to share the levity. Again, that word just happened to develop on its own during our series last summer. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine is always numero uno with loving family and friends. Then I'm a cyclist. I love music, writing, also tennis, gardening, cooking, eating, and good times. And the ocean. The ocean is a Zen place. Growing up here on the East Coast with the Atlantic nearby, the Long Island Sound nearby, it just really inspires me. So find your Zen place, share it with the world. Also, my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years, that's another Zen place. Obviously, many of our guests, like in the case with Cynthia, she's totally in the zone in her Zen place when she's doing her thing, as am I when I'm doing my thing as well. So find your Zen place and share it with the world. And don't forget, the Jim Masters Show Live is here for you. And we are here to entertain and inspire and have a good time. And if you ever miss any of the episodes, or if you come in late and you want to see it again, all of the episodes, including this one, are available 24/7, 365 on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. So definitely check it out. It's all there for you. You can go back earlier and look at the progression of our show. We've certainly, tweaked and fine-tuned, as you do with everything in life. And hopefully you've been enjoying the ride with all of us, as well as we do bring back the lost art of conversation. That's what it's all about, gang. So we thank you very much for joining us on the Jim Masters Show Live. It's always a real pleasure to have you guys with us. Thanks for all the participation. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all of the levity. And again, continue to spread the word to everybody you know. When you're in the post office or in the supermarket, just say, hey, have you heard the word on the street? The Jim Masters Show Live. It's the hottest place to be, live or archived. And everybody that's watching who isn't commenting live, you're just sitting back and you're watching, or you're watching this episode 6 months from now in the archives, we thank you and we value you as well. I know you see all this great action when we're live, but those of you who just quietly watch, we think that you are amazing as well. And we thank you very much for being a part of our experience here. Thank you very much. Gita says, night, night, Jim and pals. Right back at you, Gita. Gang, we're going to wrap up. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, back tomorrow night here in the same spot, in this chair, ready to entertain, host, and inspire with a few laughs as well on the Jim Masters Show Live. You be well. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.